Hello, this is David Cairns from Fujitsu Hybrid IT. Today I'm going to do a very short demonstration of our Fujitsu Cloud Service Management portal. This slide represents all the features of Fujitsu Cloud Service Management. We're going to approach this today from a user perspective. We'll show you three views. We'll show you a simple business user view, a management view, and then a power user view. So let's jump straight into the live portal, which is browser-based. So here we are in a browser. I'll go full screen just to make it more viewable. And from here, I can effectively browse all services and order services. So infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service, and as you can see here, business process as a service. So it's as simple as just choosing, as a manager might do for an employee, to order Office 365 for a new starter, and click Get It Now, and click Configure, and effectively fill in the fields to order that account. So that's a software as a service view. Put simply, we can order servers as well, whole servers from infrastructure. Now look at the choice here, right? You can see Amazon Cloud, Azure Cloud, Fujitsu K5 Cloud. We can add other clouds here depending on your choice. Again, just a matter of choosing which cloud you want, Amazon in this case. Get It Now. This is a policy management server, and I'll show you what that means. If I click Configure, what I can do is set up, for example, a new server. So Blueprint would be effectively a series of servers, so it could be a whole supply chain solution of multi-tier. Let's just choose a single server. Let's have effectively a name for it, a bit of a random generated one there, a size, a location, and if it's a developer, we could choose a development environment. Each of these environments come with their own business rules. So in this case, the developer is only allowed to use it between these hours on these days that I choose, for example. And a start date, an end date, and a termination date. So maybe the server is not going to be used after the end of the week. So once you've done that, you can then move on to the let's choose the type of server. Move on to the next set of configuration parameters, which is around billing. So who's going to pay for this? So you can choose an account type and an invoice type as well. And from there, you can then just submit the server. So I'll submit that, and you see a list of the settings that you get for this particular service. And then you can accept and confirm, and effectively that will build that within Amazon in this case. And that's a simple way of actually just obtaining services as the infrastructure, software as a service, business process as a service. So that's a simple user view. Let's skip into the management view now. So if I go to another browser just to show you the management view, this is a single pane of glass, and I'll take you through some of the options here. We'll start in the middle. The left-hand side one is the power view. So policy management, let's click in here. And this is governance and blueprinting. So setting the application parameters. So for example, these environments, I can go in and manage the policy for these environments and set up, for example, which cloud they're going to run on. And I can set up when they are available and when they can be used. And these policies can be set globally. From a pricing perspective, you saw me ordering software as a service, Office 365 and some servers. I can set my pricing from here as well. So quite a simple interface that. Going back to the portal, we have monitoring. So under monitoring, this of course is our open source Zabbix monitoring. Zabbix being the enterprise class network monitoring of applications and networks, offering literally millions of metrics in terms of the ability to drill down into shallow and deep monitoring for services and servers. So from a monitoring perspective, this can be supplanted by your own monitoring solution. We can inject here something such as SCOM, System Center Operations Manager from Microsoft, or other open source, Nagios, or Nimsoft, or something of your own choosing. Okay, so just coming out of there, let's go into IT Service Management, ITSM. This then starts our ServiceNow implementation, which is our CMDB configuration management database, which offers a view of all configuration items as we create them. So as we created that server in Amazon, this is then populated in this CMDB. There's an incident map. You can see if there's any hotspots in the planet, including all continents. Not sure we've got stuff in Antarctica. You can also drill down into assets, so you can check, for example, licensing. In this case, Office 365 was the example. So really quite a powerful view here. Let's come out of there. Backup and restore, that's quite simple. You can tag your machines, your servers, your services to be backed up. Let's go into the universal dashboard. So the universal dashboard allows me to have a capacity plan view on all my resources and all my clouds. So when it builds, you'll see it's got a view of K5 Fujitsu Cloud. Here's some projects running inside K5 Cloud. So I could drill down into a departmental project and get an idea of the resources in use here from a capacity perspective. And it's just a single click to see the servers in use, the storage, the ports, networking. And there's a view of I/O operations and network traffic. So you can also see here other clouds, including legacy hardware. So if I clicked on other clouds, I would be calling out via API to Azure and Amazon to see my infrastructure. But legacy hardware is quite interesting because what this is a view of physical servers sitting outside of the cloud. So here's some old servers, a BizTalk 2009 server. I can drill into that now and get a view of that from a perspective of global monitoring. So this can really contain a view, a single pane of glass view of all your estate. Okay, let's go into financial management. Quick tour around there. So from here, we can actually do some financial modeling and analysis and assigning budgets to departments. So let's just have a look through here. This is a forecast of my Amazon spend. So the worst case this month would be about €5,000. Best case down here, and obviously these datums represent a projection. What else have we got here? So here's unassigned. If I go into unassigned, what this is if you tag all your resources, which you should be doing, you can effectively see every department spend. So if I go to usage category, you'll see here that we've got some unassigned spend, €44. So that's not been tagged, and we can now click and drill down into that and see effectively who's spending money in IT that hasn't tagged it correctly. So what else can I do in here? Budgets, I can set a budget for a project and then track it. So we can see Project Rainbow here has a total cost and it's at an 80% warning threshold. It won't punitively stop the project. It'll just alert you via email if you get near the limit. Offers what-if analysis, so I can compare and contrast different providers, Fujitsu Cloud versus some other hyperscale clouds. I can choose an operating system, and I can do a comparison against a geography, currency, add some resources, choose a small machine type. I could look and compare storage and network. Let's just do machines. And then at a point in time, compare the pricing structure for those providers. As you can see here, Fujitsu comes out quite well, but it depends on the time of day and the parameters you choose. Okay, let's come out of here and let's now look at the next generation infrastructure. So this is, if I choose to select this, is the ability for me to instantaneously create services. Now, not just servers, but services. So here's my environment. You can see it shows me I've got some active subscriptions and instances running and spend. But if I go to create new service, I can choose here again any of my providers as a private cloud and start to build things very quickly. So a server of a given size, I can choose authentication, networking types, and just skip through here. Whether it's managed, whether it's monitored, whether it's patched. I'm going to take the defaults here and just run through that. And you'll see here the second service comes up and real time on screen on this showing the building of this server. So at this stage, it's chosen to be managed. It's still building. If I click into the box itself, it'll give me the status. It says installing here, and that status will change shortly. So whilst that's installing, it's now clicked to manage. We can look through the options. I can change firewall rules here. So I could, for example, enable port 80 if I wanted to, if it's a web server. From a configuration perspective, I can add applications. Let's just do that. Let's install Apache, shall we? And it'll do that in background for the time it takes the script to build on the server. Get a notification up here to say it's doing it. Power actions, so I can start, power off, reboot, hard reboot, and of course if I want to destroy the server, I can do that as well. So from an application perspective, let's see if that's how that's doing. My application is ready, it says. I did enable, from a network perspective, port 80, so I should be able to take this IP address and come out of full screen mode here and just go to a browser and effectively access that server. Let's see if we can get to that. So that's not come up. Let's see why that's not come up. Let's go back into the service. Let's check network and security. Yes, I've enabled port 8080, when in fact I should have enabled port 80. So I can disable that one, and then I can enable HTTP port 80, and that should allow me to access the service because it's advertising on that port. So let's just refresh that now. And there we go, Apache running. So you can see there very quickly, I've managed to create a server and a service. So that's all good and well. But let's now go back to a power user view. So let's go to the portal and let us just stay on this page. Yeah, so let's go to the power view. So the power view, we've seen next generation infrastructure. Let's go to blueprinting now and just jump into what that is. So blueprinting, here we are now taken into our blueprinting center. Let's walk through that. So this dashboard shows that I've got some appliances inside here. An appliance could be a machine or a container. Generations are effectively where I've taken an application or a server and I've pushed it out to other clouds. So I've packaged it and sent it out to Amazon or Azure or K5 from Fujitsu. Now scans are important. That's where I can scan a Linux or Windows server anywhere from any place and bring it into this system and create blueprints, and the disk space in use. So let's just look through a little bit more detail in that. Let's go to migration and look at some servers I've scanned in before. And just to show you actually while that's coming up, how quickly it is to scan in a server. So I can actually show you a Windows server here. There we go. There's a Windows box. Let's go full screen on that. And just by executing a binary file, a single file on the server that I place on the server, it's not installed, it's not put in place in an application level, it's just a binary. I can double click that effectively, and it'll let me run a command. This is the little box pops up that scans the server. I choose the data I want to take, all partitions, scans the operating system, and then we'll take the copy of this server and put it into my blueprinting engine. So let's just come out of there and we'll run that first, shall we? Let's just do that now. So there, it's starting that now, and let's come out of the server and let us refresh this screen. Yeah, you can see now that I've got this as the top server here being analyzed. There's another one my colleague must be running now. So that server is being brought in. As we speak, it's been scanned. Any Linux or Windows server can be brought in. So here, let's look at what we've done before. So here's a Windows server here. If I click on that, what I can see is that when it scanned it in, it brought in all the applications for the server, then lists them. It lists all the services as well in terms of all the constituent components of Windows. You can do, of course, this for Linux as well, so let's just go back and do that. So yes, a scan of a Linux box. Similarly, all the packages are broken down, and you can, this is a Windows one, my mistake. You can look at all the individual packages for any given Linux operating system. So here's one, let's use this one here. Of course, you don't have to just scan in servers. Once you've got them in, you can change them, and we'll show you that next. It's quite powerful, this package. So here's all the Linux build packages for this particular machine. In terms of what else I can do, if I go to migration scans, I can compare two machines. So let's just do that. Let's take two machines that I've scanned previously. Up here's a compare button. And let's pick two machines and just do a scan and compare. So there's the first scan of it, and there's the fourth scan of it. Let's do compare. Why do we do this? So maybe a developer is working on the machine and has made a mistake in his code, or it's not the best code. Well, you can effectively at this point go and dissect the differences, and all the packages at the bottom are all the differences between the two scans of the machines there. And of course, I could also check for security if somebody has added a file. So I know for a fact that there's a new file I create sometimes to show that, and there it is there, a file that's been generated to show it's been added to the server. So a good way of checking if a server has been compromised. So that's scanning to servers. You've seen scanning in, and let's have a look now at what you can do with a scanned in server. So here's one I've scanned in previously. If I click on this box, I then get the option. You can see here it's a 3-tier server, web, middleware, and database. I can generate an image for this. What that means is I can take a copy of this and then push it out to, well, all these clouds. So not only can I scan in, but I can push out to all these cloud types, not just clouds, but also virtual environments, all these hypervisors, private clouds, also physical servers. I could push it to a physical server via an ISO file. And of course, containers. I could even create a Docker image. So you can see this gives me the ability to scan in and provide the ability to push out to any other provider. So I've got a really ubiquitous open system here. Okay, let's just jump back to the PowerPoint where we started and just end by saying that Fujitsu Cloud Service Manager is available globally. And if you contact your Fujitsu account manager, you too can perform all these actions as simply as I've done here. Thank you.